There was, of course, to the east of you
Yes,
was the Morris family.
yes,
Let's go back to them then, and let's talk a little bit about them. You first met them when you were quite a young boy when you first moved here. Is that correct?
yes. Shortly after we moved here, my father made contact with Ed Fogut, Ed being the son-in-law of the Morrises. And Ed lived further along than the dwelling that the Morrises lived in. I think it's at 5207 today. And he arranged to obtain dairy products from him for our family, milk and cream.
So your parents and yourself, you actually interacted more with the Foguts than you did with the elderly Morris family or couple. Is that correct?
Very definitely so.
Okay. Was there a particular reason for that, or was it?
Well, probably because Ed was kind of the guy that did the business. I remember Mrs. Morris, but I don't remember a Mr. Morris. Nor do I remember Cyril, who was the son. But I know they were there.
What can you say about Mrs. Morris? Do you have fond or otherwise memories of her? What kind of person was she? Do you have any information about that?
I couldn't say that I was friends with her particularly, but she certainly was warm in her greetings to me as I walked by. I would go past their house on my way to the creamery to bring some milk home. And yes, she would come out and say, "Hello, good morning." Always very pleasant.
They would have been. What's your estimation in terms of how old they would have been when you arrived here in the mid-30s?
Well, when you're 6 years old, everybody's old.
True enough. Good point.
So I can't really put a handle on that.
Okay.
They were old folks.
Okay. They were.
The truth is they were probably in their 30s,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Okay. That's fine. What was Ed Fogut like? How did he respond to you as a young boy?
Ed was a very likable person. His heritage was Denmark. He had a fairly heavy Danish accent, and until you got to know him, he was difficult to understand. And he had no children, and he kind of took a liking to me. And he taught me a lot of things about farming. He taught me to drive his Model A Ford. He taught me to drive his Model D tractor and a variety of other chores around the house.
How old were you when you started to learn to drive the car and the tractor?
Probably about 7.
That must have been pretty exciting for a young boy, 7, 8 years of age.
And of course you'd attract it very eagerly.
Pardon me?
You'd be very eager to participate.
Right.
Yes, I found it great. No, we were driving the vehicles in the farm, not on the highway.
Yeah, of course, like in the farmyard or the fields.
Yes.
Yeah. So Fogut was married to one of the Morris daughters.
Yes,
Okay.
Marjorie.
Did you get to know her at all then too?
I didn't get to know her very well, but it wasn't uncommon for her to invite me in for a kind of a breakfast, because I was going there to work, if you would. So she would invite me in to have breakfast with them in preparation for the day.
What sort of breakfast would you eat with them?
Golly, I don't remember. Probably be something like cream of wheat porridge.
Did they pay you for the, like, did you go there on a regular basis? Did they pay you to work for them?
I cannot remember ever receiving pay from Ed, but I was eager to go there because of the learning I got. So it was never a question with me.